Hello guys, it's Welch's here, and today my Razer Hydra came in. As you can see, it's not in the box because I've already unboxed it. So, this won't be an unboxing. If you're looking for an unboxing, there's plenty of them on YouTube. I'm sure you can find one. It's not very difficult. Just look up Razer Hydra unboxing and you'll find it. Actually, just look up Razer Hydra and it'll be on the first page of YouTube. So, for those of you who are unaware of the Razer Hydra, it is a 6th Sense technology that was packaged and sold by Razer. So it's not entirely Razer's technology, but it is their product because they did manufacture the look and the feel of the overall product, which I must say they did a good job. The only thing I'm really disappointed by is these triggers and bumpers. You would think they're nice because they're large, and obviously both controllers are identical. There's really not anything that puts them apart. So it kind of makes it rough to tell which one's left and which one's right until you have it all set up and on the base station end, or if you just look at the triggers, which do say right and left bumper on the bumpers. So at least there's something to use. The orb and base station that you get is very, very cool looking and unique. It's a neat thing to have sitting on your desk. It is kind of big, and it shipped at 2.5 pounds, so it's a bit heavier than I was expecting or anticipating at first. It seems like there's some Chinese or Japanese lettering, made in China, so it's Chinese lettering on the bottom of it. You're supposed to have it facing forward on your desk. It can be pretty much anywhere on your desk, as long as it's not by anything magnetic or otherwise. It's got a lot of cables involved. As you can see, both controllers are cabled, but it does have nice braided cables. They're not cheap, annoying cables. These are actually pretty good quality braiding here. So, and that's only on the controller cables. The cable for the USB is not braided, so I don't mind that as much, actually. And I believe this is a micro USB, same thing that Samsung devices use. Overall, a very aesthetically pleasing controller. The only thing that's a little weird is that point on the tip of the controller. It seems a little unnecessary. It looks like it's just kind of for flash, and it does look good, and it doesn't really get in the way that much, but it is kind of an unnecessary extrusion. So I think they could have done without that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the base station back onto my desk and make sure I have the right controllers in each hand, and I'm going to open up Team Fortress. So the moment you have the controllers off of the docking station, it is, as long as what you're using, or you have a MCE for it, which is a motion control executable or something, then you will have all your mouse interactions mapped to your right hand, which is extremely responsive. I don't have many problems working with it. I mean, it seems to work pretty efficiently. The tracking here is so solid that it feels like an extension of the game, as opposed to a motion controller that takes you out of the experience too much. What's nice about this is it has all these buttons. It has a total of 8 buttons on each controller if you include analog stick presses. So you have 1 through 4 on each controller, plus 2 bumpers, plus these start and select kind of buttons, and then the 2 analog sticks. So ultimately, you're getting a full you know, a full controller experience, but you're also getting motion control on top of that. So you're not just limited to things that a controller can do. Alright, so I'm going to try to get my bearings here. This is the first time I've played TF2 with this at all. I've had about 5 to 10 minutes of learning time before I got into the actual experience here. So what you're seeing is me with practically no prior testing out of this in a multiplayer environment. So this is me playing against people primarily with mice, and I'm going to do the best I can. Alright, how do I reload?
Go under the bridge.
This is going to be an issue because I don't have all the buttons down yet. Okay, so that what does that? That.
Medic! That's what I'm talking about!
That's taunt. I would expect reload to be. That's crouch. I guess. I think it's a gesture, but I can't tell. Scout is really difficult with this. I can tell straight off the bat, just because it's such a demanding and fast-paced character type. I jump with motion, which is a little rough sometimes. Whoa. I like get my bat out. That'd be interesting. It's also hard to see over my camera. My camera is kind of in my way of my range of view. I'm trying to do the best to capture just how accurate this controller really is, and maybe the best way to do that would be in Portal, or at least as a character other than the Scout, because the Scout is a difficult class to play using these, just because it's such a fast-paced hero. So let's see if I can figure out. There we go. Button 1 is to switch classes. So let's try out the heavy. The heavy seems like it'd be perfect for this. So you'll notice that I have a free look kind of thing going on here. I can look around the screen. And as I get closer to the edges of the screen, I start to turn. The farther I go towards the edge, the faster I turn. This feels extremely natural. I hardly have to think about the motions. The hardest part right now is the fact that it's kind of lagging due to streaming, and the camera's kind of blocking my way. Those are the only two things that are holding me back. Otherwise, this is very, very cool, very fluid. Works pretty well. I assume that the longer I have to play with it, the more I'll get used to using it as a controller for intensive games and intensive purposes like Team Fortress. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me, per se, but I hope for it to work out.
What's up, Welchers?
Goofy goof. What class are you?
Stella, what's up? I'm medic right now.
Get my pocket.
Right now, I am.
Healing me. Damn straight. Do that the whole game.
Ooh.
Back turtling.
Scout. So yeah, like I said, this feels very natural. The motions are really accurate. I've got the base station quite a distance from me. I don't know how. I think I can get like 3 feet from it and have it still maintain accuracy. But you know, being even a considerable distance away from it, I'm still getting pretty good accuracy. I mean, it's showing no signs of actually faltering. The only thing that's holding me back right now is the fact that I'm recording and I'm getting a bit of a delay in what I'm seeing here on my screen. So that obviously is not helping my gameplay. The controller, though, is not my fault right now, or is not at fault right now. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. It feels so responsive and accurate. It's very appealing to work with.
Scoot.
I'm really happy I picked this up, and for the price, considering it's 50% off until April 25th, 2013, if you buy this at a point where it's on sale, I don't see what you have to lose. I mean, you're basically paying the price of a regular. Well, I guess not. I was gonna say you're paying like the price of an Xbox controller, but it's still more than an Xbox controller. And it may be a bit gimmicky, but wait until the Oculus Rift comes out, because that's when this thing is going to really shine in terms of development. Because this is a controller that is designed for 3D environments. It's not designed... I mean, it's designed to be immersed.
Still on the bridge.
And for immersive experience. So... Whoa. Circle strafing feels very natural. The only thing I have to work on is getting my hand timings right with my right hand. Just figuring out the accuracy is the tough part here. I'm not super accurate with it yet. Like I said before, that's not at fault to the controller. That's entirely at fault to me having just started out with it and getting used to it. I mean, it's different. It's not a keyboard and mouse, and it's not a regular controller. It's a much different experience. And it's also not a Kinect or a Wii. I mean, this is much different than those two as well. If anything, this is closer to the PlayStation Move in the way it's been integrated into games. But even then, this is more accurate and appealing because of the buttons and the dual analog sticks and whatnot. It's pretty awesome.
Mo.
You ready, Entity?
So,
you ready, Entity?
let's jump out.
Go.
I think I've done a good enough job making myself look bad in Team Fortress, so let's exit out of Team Fortress for right now. And we'll go ahead and we'll launch Portal 2, because that is an extremely awesome game to show this off with. So let's go ahead, launch Portal. And... okay. So, this is Portal 2, a game everybody pretty much knows about now. I don't think there's a single gamer out there who doesn't know what Portal is or hasn't played it. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to calibrate by pointing my hands at the controller and pressing the trigger. That makes sure that the system knows where a good center is for me. I anticipate that a lot of games down the road will involve that. We're going to go ahead and continue my previous game so we don't have to go through the tutorials again, because actually I think I'm still in the tutorials. The problem is the tutorials that were made by Sixth Sense make you feel like the creator doesn't trust that you understand games, and I don't like that about certain tutorial levels. So here we go. Here's one of the cool features that you get from having a Hydra that you don't get from playing this game by itself. Now, this portal I have on the ground here, I can grab that portal, I can move that portal freely. It's a little bit out of my reach right now, but I can pull it back. Whoop. I can rotate it using my wrist. So if I rotate my wrist, it'll rotate the portal around. You can see it's a little jittery because as I rotate, I point my mouse in different areas. So that's a little tough to work with sometimes. But what we can do is walk behind cover. Something we couldn't do before. This is where I was actually stuck. So, I'm not actually sure what the hell I'm supposed to do right here. I tried to jump. I tried to jump around that. I'm not really sure what the goal is here. I can't see what I'm supposed to use to my advantage except for that. I assume I'm supposed to use that. Let's see. So if I turn the origin portal, this blue portal, where the thing is pointing out of, it changes the angle at which it comes out at the other end as well, which is really interesting because you have to think about it in a much different way than you used to. I'm gonna try to get out of that. Whoa, 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 whoa! Okay. I don't know if that was really what I had to do, but let's see. Yeah, see, that doesn't matter here because I can already rotate it. So that wasn't a big concern right here. I am entirely unsure of what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so there's gesture controls here as well. Pretty typically, flicking your left hand up will jump. I've seen that a lot in Wii games as well, so it's kind of a typical motion. Holding your hand down, far down, will crouch. So if you go to rest your hand or something, it's not resting your hand alone will not do it, but if you point the front end of the controller down, and I mean kind of drastically as well, that's when you'll crouch. So it's not gonna the game will not, or I'm sorry, the Hydra will not falter you if your arms get tired and you have to put your arm down. That's not a big deal. If you have to literally rest your hand down though, you will crouch in most games, at least FPS games. On the alternative side, there are typically buttons bound to the controllers themselves for said interactions, like jumping is on this controller, and I believe I can crouch, yeah, with the pressing the analog stick in, which is very typical. One thing that is upsetting is this does not register as a typical Xbox controller, which it could. If this had the ability to override a game and say you're using an Xbox controller and mapped it to certain buttons that could be, you know, typical Xbox buttons on this controller, then you'd get a whole lot more functionality out of it. You'd get more compatibility. I'm going to try, oh, I really want to try to just make that jump. I feel like that's, I don't know, I don't think it's right, but that's what I want to do. Alright, so let's try this again. Place the portal down. Whoops. Gotta grab the portal. And there we go. So it forces you to think about even Portal in a different way. And not just in that aspect. I'm done with this. I'm done trying. I'm dumb, apparently. Other things that this allows you to do are things like one-to-one, which I will try to show you now. One-to-one is a very, very cool system that is only available in Hydra support, as well as cube stretching. The idea that you can grab something and then stretch it out, and then turn it, and then stretch it out again. You can do a lot of really unique and cool things with the Hydra. Given that these have such perfect tracking, up to millimeter precise tracking, and degree to the degree precise tracking, it allows for very unique and intuitive situations. So, aim. Here you can see that it is actually quite accurate. The only issue I have is judging the distance between how far I need to go from here to here. Sometimes that can be an issue, but that is something that would come with using the controller for a large period of time. You know, for gamers like us, we're so used to keyboard and mouse or controller, standard things, but what we fail to remember is that that took us a long time to get used to those control methods. Those did not come to us naturally. Those were things that we had to work towards. None of us, well, I assume that none of us started out playing first-person shooters at a 20-to-1 kill-death ratio. I mean, that's just not how you start out. You work your way up to that point. You get better with DPI, and then you work your way up to higher DPIs. I assume that the same method of learning will follow over to this, given it's a new control method. So you're going to be working in different ways to control your experience than you would have. And I'm trying to show off here just how accurate this really is. Making precise little adjustments is really, really noticeable. I mean, you can, if your hand flinches, you can see it flinch. I mean, every little jittery motion that's happening on screen is coming from my hand actually being jittery. So it feels like I'm holding a portal gun right now. It feels like I'm in the experience. It's really quite interesting. The only thing I could imagine is that this would be even cooler with the Oculus Rift, of course, because manipulating a 3D object within a 3D space seems like the perfect way to go, right? So here's the one-to-one. I'm going to move back in my chair a little bit, just so that I can get a better, show this off a little better. So as I push the cube out, or as I push the controller out, I push the cube out. But as I rotate my hand, I also rotate the cube. This gives me a crazy amount of control over what I'm doing in this environment. It makes me think about the puzzles in a way that I've never thought about before. So like here, where I'm going to have to shove this cube into this space and then drop it, is something that, well, I could have just gone up to here and tried to throw the companion cube, or not companion cube, but the cube into this chamber using a keyboard and mouse. I could have done it, but it wouldn't have been as intuitive as it feels just grabbing it and reaching in and pushing it into the environment. It's really interesting to think about it like this, as opposed to your standard operation methods. The only downside to this controller that I can see so far is a lack of support. There's not enough things that do support it, and Valve being the #1 supporter of this product, well, it's not a bad thing, just isn't enough. This controller is too advanced to have so little support. It's too good. It's too accurate. And I've been watching plenty of YouTube videos and posting plenty of YouTube videos onto my Have Coffee with the Geek Facebook page about all the upcoming projects that people have been working on involving these controllers and the Oculus Rift. Things like first-person shooters where your hands are actually independent of each other within the game, and you need to reach out, grab guns, you need to actually aim with your arms, you need to actually point the barrel of the gun around. Things like this excite me as a gamer. It's not that we need this immersion, it's that the immersion is different and fun and unique, and we do want it. We don't necessarily need it to take over, and it doesn't need to be the #1 way to control games, but it's going to feel more intuitive and more natural once it's in a 3D environment, in a 3D space, and you can tell that you're reaching your arms out, and you can tell that in the game, where your arm is in real life is actually where the arm is in the game. If you could feel that level of immersion, then you would truly understand how powerful these tools are. The Razer Hydra, thanks to Six Sense, is extremely powerful. They've developed something really unique and awesome here. But until they get more developer support, it's gonna get left in the dust, and that's the sad part, is that these are way too good to be so unknown. Not enough people are interested in it, and that even goes for me. I didn't pick this thing up until the sale. So if you guys are really interested in motion gaming, especially on a PC platform, you're gonna have to get these, especially for 50% off. I mean, they're worth it, and the more people buy it, the more support that will come from it. So pick them up, guys. Just for yourselves, whether it's gimmicky or not, that is up to you, and if you think it's too gimmicky, then don't buy it. If you're not a motion controller person, then you're not a motion controller person. That's just how it is. If you think a keyboard and mouse is better, and that's all you need in life, then stick with your keyboard and mouse. You're probably not going to find anything here that's going to be really beneficial over a keyboard and mouse. These aren't going to be more accurate than a keyboard and mouse. They might be more fun, but they're not going to be more accurate. So if your #1 concern is accuracy, then, well, the Hydra is extremely accurate and cool. The mouse is, in the long run, going to be a better result for you as a gamer. These just offer a new take on interacting with your games in a way that really does work quite well. It's very natural, very responsive, very fluent. I really like it. So I'm going to say that this is a product worth buying. The only major downfall is a lack of support, and I expect that to come in a few years. If not, maybe it would be replaced by the Leap, which I hope not, because this, as a gamer, these are way more appealing than not having buttons. I don't know about you guys, but having buttons, analog sticks, and triggers is the #1 thing for gaming. You need to have at least some kind of button or input method other than just using your body. This is perfect. This is the way things should be. The cables I could do without, but that would include there would be batteries in here, and you'd have to somehow make them lighter. I mean, there's a lot of things that would need to be worked out in the long run if you want this to be the perfect product. But for what it is now, as a first release of this product, it is amazing. They did a great job with the technology. They did a great job with the packaging and the aesthetics of the device. It's great looking. It feels really comfortable in your hands. These controllers, though they're kind of big, I've heard people with smaller hands will have an issue, but for me, that's perfect. I need a big controller. So these things are really comfortable. They work really well. And I think I got mine for $65 shipped or $70 shipped, down from like $110, $120. So it's a pretty good deal. It's worth it, in my opinion. So that's everything I have to say. For now, I might have, well, not might have, but I definitely will have more to say down the road. The more time I have to play with it, the more I can say about it. So, as far as my initial impressions are concerned, I think this device is amazing. I just think it needs more support. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys.